So turning your attention inward, scanning the body, entering the body with your awareness, feeling the body from the inside. Turning your sensing to the bones. Allow weight to settle underside. Consciously releasing the abdomen. And then anywhere and everywhere else. Can you hang the hips a bit more, pulling the lower back straighter? Is the back crown of the head pointed directly up, which will tilt the head slightly so the back of the neck is having the effect as the lower back. Let the weight of the arms and hands pull the shoulders straight down. Take a moment to make sure that the shoulders aren't rolled forward, or some people might have a tendency to be back, lost tension back here. So bring it right to the center line here. So the shoulders are set. So this is rolled forward, set. So when you let your arms hang, if they're already kind of angled forward, it'll just pull them more forward. So when you hang the arms to open up the shoulder joints and have weight underside through the arms, you want to make sure that that's pulling things correctly rather than aggravating that shape that we don't want. Becoming aware of the sensation on the bottoms of the feet, sensation of gravity. Let that sensation of pressure on the bottoms of the feet push the top of your head. Releasing the abdomen always helps. Hanging the hips, lengthening, straightening the lower back always helps to get that pressure all the way up through the body. Enter more fully with your awareness into the feet. Relax, release the feet. Let the feet spread and open. Every once in a while, take a big breath in, big breath out to release the abdomen and any other tension anywhere in the body. Moving your awareness to the ankles, consciously letting go at the ankles and in the ankles. So we're going to move through the body sequentially, opening and releasing, relaxing. Calves, shins, the lower legs, consciously letting them go. Notice how much extra stuff you're using to stand up. So in the lower legs, shins, calves, ankles, feet, notice how much, to one degree or another, we're holding on in order to stand up. So notice that extra stuff that's going on just to stand up that we don't need. So release all that extra stuff that we don't need. Just for standing, we don't need that. Into the knees, open the knees, relax the knees. And see if you can peel off or drain off that extra stuff, the extra tension. We're not just standing, we're standing up, holding in. So release that up and inness from the knees down. That might trigger even more release elsewhere. Abdomen. Moving into the upper legs, thighs, consciously releasing those thighs, even though we're using them to stand. Let them empty and open. Notice the extra contraction, extra muscle stuff. We have to use some, minimize that as much as possible. Notice the extra stuff. I can stand using this much energy and muscle, or I can stand using this much or I can stand using much, much less and still stand. At the same time, we want to be aware that we're not falling into collapsing or disintegrating a vertical alignment when we release and relax. Like even down here, there could be a slumping or releasing. The pinching of the knees in, for example, collapsing in the qua. So that's where we're kind of doing yin and yang at the same time. Relaxed, released, but also open. But if this is a new process, we just want to work with one thing at a time. It's releasing, softening, relaxing, softening. But really everyone here has enough experience that you want to at least start to play with doing two things at once, softening, but also opening. Even better is when you start to soften, release, like you're saying, use less effort, less muscle stuff. And when you start to notice that there's a collapsing or a degrading of something, that's fantastic. That's good Ting. It's good inner listening, inner awareness. And that's where it becomes more and more self-correcting, self-adjusting. So when you start to notice those things that happen, that we want to happen and that we don't want to happen, that's excellent progress developing of that sensitive awareness. Releasing the hips, including hip joints and the heavy muscles and the entire hip area. Notice how much holding on is going on. There's some for sure. So if you go to a place in your body, oh, I can't really notice any extra stuff. It just seems normal, or what I need to do to stand. I can't really sense any extra stuff. Just intellectually know there's extra stuff going on, and that can help you penetrate a little bit deeper, or be a little bit more willing to let something go. So just that idea, that awareness, the idea of the possibility, yeah, I'm hanging on to extra stuff. And when I do that, there's an instantaneous releasing to one degree or another, even though I may have released to the maximum point I thought I could. Well, then I accept that there's still holding going on. There's an immediate further release. Moving into the abdomen, consciously releasing, emptying the abdomen. And having done the best you can to empty and release the abdomen, know that there's more stuff being held in there. There's still more of this going on there to one degree or another. Be aware that that's going on. It's almost like you playing hide and seek. Ah, found you. And as soon as you find them, the game's over. You have to give up. It has to give up as soon as you find it. As soon as you give the idea that it's there, it has to give up. Moving to the lower back. Release, soften the lower back, hang the hips to release and open the lower back. Accept, agree that there's still stuff going on. You probably can notice this, there's still extra holding going on, but even if you can't, there's holding going on. Spiritually, let that go. You can't let go. Let's say you've gone to the maximum you can let go physically, muscularly. You've let everything you can let go. Spiritually let it go. Go one step further. There's another realm, there's another layer, there's another dimension yet that you can allow to let go. Mid-back, consciously release it, consciously empty it. Every once in a while, come back to specifically the abdomen. That's a real important trigger, very helpful trigger, releasing the abdomen. And also the lower back. When you release the mid-back, know that there's still some holding going on there. Symbolically, spiritually, theoretically, engage in that willingness to let go further. Let go into empty space, let go into emptiness. You don't know what you're letting go of. Just that idea of willingness to let go in that area, even though you may not be able to feel it. Flowing to the front of the torso. Let that empty, open, soften, relax. See if you can refine the level that you can notice. Refine and deepen the Ting. There's still some holding going on. Not sure if I can release it all because there's a lot of, it's on the level getting to the layer of unconscious holding, unconscious tension. But I'm going to have the intention and the willingness to let go some degree into that layer of unconscious tension and enter into that realm of unconscious tension and touch that realm. And there will be some letting go further than you ever have. Even if it's just touching the iceberg starts to melt it. If it's never touched, if the iceberg's never touched, it'll be an iceberg for millennia. Just like a hair dryer will eventually melt an iceberg, just your touch already begins the process of melting. Just the touching of your awareness, touching of your Ting, starts to enter deeper and deeper into that realm of where that holding is residing. Flowing up into the neck. Notice the day-long tension in the neck, the years, decades-long tension in the neck. Penetrate into that years-long pattern of holding in the neck. And penetrate it with your awareness, with the light and warmth of your awareness. And let it trigger a letting go, trigger letting go, trigger letting go. Unspindling to one degree or another of all that deep, tight tissue holding. And flowing into the back of the scalp, sides, top of the scalp. And become aware that the scalp also holds on. We tend to forget about that and not notice that. Even the scalp is holding on. So then once we recognize that, the light of awareness, it then has that permission or space to release or let go a little bit. Touching the very frontiers of how much you can let go, touching into the very boundary of the territory of unconscious tension in the scalp. And take that process into the forehead. Release the abdomen as you do this. Around the eyes, all the little muscles around the eyes. Notice the unconscious, frozen, habituated tightness around the eyes and temples. It's there. Release it by the flooding of your awareness into that space. Maybe the entering into that space for the first time with real clear awareness. Flowing your awareness and your presence into the cheeks. The unconscious holding in the cheeks. Whether that's because of putting on a face or whether it's because it's holding things down and in. There's unconscious tension there. Flood that area with warmth and light of your awareness. And that triggers the release on its own. Then flowing into the jaw, the deep, old tension in the jaw, including the base of the tongue. Old tension. Touched by new awareness, allowing new release. Now from the tongue down, release down. From the eyes down, release down. From the brow down, release. Right through the arms, hands, fingers, fingertips. From the forehead down, release. Right through the entire body. So from the forehead down, this is all flowing down, drifting down through the hips, through the knees, thighs, legs, feet. From the scalp down, flowing down through everything, through the arms, hands, fingers. Release the abdomen. From the crown, releasing down from the crown through the entire body, the bottoms of the feet. Everything now is in the same process of releasing. Deep breath in, long breath out, gently rock out. We'll just have a little release from that, little break from that. Let me know if you have any comments or want to share any experiences with that or have any questions. Let's move a little bit. Knees bent, just keeping the joints open and mobile. Release the abdomen. Any comments, questions? That's what you want to have. That seemed like a lengthy process because, you know, we're doing it kind of very specifically and item by item, guiding ourselves through that. But that's what you want to be doing, you know, every time you stand. It doesn't always have to be so sequentially, but it's good to do it sequentially, often. And then once you do it often, you know it, you know the feeling of it, you can do it, you can turn it all on or most of it on and find the places that haven't quite got with it and spend some extra attention and time with those places that haven't quite released as much as the other areas. That's basically the process you want to be doing all the time when you're doing standing. There's variations of doing it, but that basically opening, releasing, letting go. Yes?
Well, I have neck and jaw issues, and depending on how I sleep, they can really compound. And this morning I've had this horrible headache all day. And so doing that is really getting into the old part of that because this isn't new. And it was just like, yeah, this is what I need to do every time. So, yeah.
Yeah. So that's
Brad, thank you.
Yeah. And if you touch it every day, it will change and evolve and resolve and open and release. It will change if you touch it every day. And you don't have to be spending the same time every day, but if you touch it every day, change will happen.
It was really interesting to see, like, because there's parts of me that were quite tight today just from different things I've been doing, and to watch like what you think wouldn't have impact have quite an impact to melt the tension.
Oh.
You know, so like, yeah, like thinking about the base of my tongue really opened up my thoracic spine area, which is often tight, which was kind of, you know, as we went up in the tracing of that, you know, it didn't budge. It was like, no, I'm tight and I'm good. I'm here, you know, I'm going to hang on. And then the releasing that part of the tongue just woof, that dropped that out. So it's a good reminder to me to like not hone in on the bit that's constricted, but to kind of go through the process comprehensively because of that, you know, the interconnection and how it can change. Because yeah, I focused on the thoracic back for a little while and nothing doing, you know, but something else really opened that up.
Yeah, so that's a really good technique, a really good technology to approach something obliquely or indirectly, that's a very useful tool to have in the toolbox. And that's for those places that are really tight or chronically tight. That's kind of the way you have to do it. It's like, again, back to this, if I use the same imagery of a iceberg, it's going to take forever to maybe melt that iceberg directly. But if I can melt this shelf over here or this piece over here, it'll slide away. So it doesn't have to be direct always. And so try that. That's, try a different area and see how that approaches. It affects the area that's really chronically or acutely tight. Even and when you're having trouble, something that's worth trying as well, noticing an area that is quite open, quite released and quite open. This is actually a very potent approach. An area that's relatively really quite open and spacious. You transfer that feeling into that other area. Through awareness and intention, you expand that into the other area that's tight, or you transfer that feeling into the area that's tight. Someone was going to say something, I think.
Yeah, because I mean, I do that a lot when I first start doing a lot of standing before I start my Tai Chi set, but I forget about my face. And so like I'm at the end of the mini set and I'm still scowling. So I find that it's almost like that, what was it? Smile with your liver kind of thing. So then I smile and I can relax my face and my neck and everything. But I find now if I smile at least, my face isn't all caught up in some scowl. Because I'm a scowler, as you know.
So again, excellent awareness, and that's a common thing for many people. And it's just another one, just like the stomach. One of the reasons why we're always release the abdomen. It's an area that's often unconsciously carrying a lot of tension. It's the same with the face for sure. So the face it's really good to become aware of that. And the face is a wonderful trigger for the rest of the body. And in fact, it is a very worthwhile technique to do a set of Tai Chi, and the main focus is softening, relaxing the face. And just the face. And just like Cheryl noticed that the tongue, and the root of the tongue specifically, was a trigger for other parts of the body or even the whole body, it can be the same with any area really, but the face is a really good one. So the face is always another one of those places that spend a little extra time and visit that a little extra time. Go back once more to the face and check out the face, because that's a really good place to do that. In fact, I'd like to make a slight divergent trek here, which isn't really at all. It's very much what we're doing. Let's do some movements where we're going to focus specifically on the face, because just like the inner smile affects everything, if you just went physically softening the face, it has a cascading effect through the body. So let's do some room lengths, and we'll let you pick. Let's actually do brush knees. Start a few room lengths of brush knees, hang out from the string. And notice your body, notice your shoulder tension, notice the tension in the abdomen. Release it directly attend to them, release it, directly attend to those areas with your awareness. But now really emphasize the face. Enter the face with your awareness. And that's the skin of the face, the muscles of the face, the tissues under the skin. It's even the layer of fat under the skin, then the muscles touching the bones of the face. Get all the way in there throughout. And consciously soften or release the face. And let that work down from there. Let that work down from there. The face becomes the trigger for the rest of the body. What you might even want to play with or try is weight underside with the face. Okay, so just a little bit of that, and you know, you can spend more time with that on your own. And I really recommend, I've definitely done this many times myself, the whole set or most of the set, consciously relaxing the muscles of the face. We do just a little bit more of that, very, very closely related, but specifically release and relax the tongue. Let's do a room length or two, releasing the root of the tongue.
Uh-oh.
If you hear a thud, that's my tongue hitting the floor. Okay. So let the tongue release, soften, weight underside, at the tongue, in the tongue. Release the very root of the tongue. That will spread down the throat. It'll spread out through the rest of the mouth, face, and it will spread down through the throat. And that's the access to the rest of the body, releasing the very root of the tongue. Weight underside at the very root of the tongue. Okay. Any other comments or questions?
Well, sort of, oh, go ahead.
I didn't realize how much tension I had in my tongue. So it really releases the whole airway area.
Yeah, right through the throat.
Right? So it makes it just feel more open and breathing, and like that's amazing. Thanks, Cheryl.
That's actually,
Yeah, no, I was
Yes.
like initially I was focused on the tongue, and I realized the everything really released another level.
okay, since we're doing well with this, and as we mentioned, it can be any area of the body. So I have a bit of a challenge for us. We can use any part of the body as a trigger to start a cascading effect of release and opening and relaxing. So
You
let's
have to
do,
guess what the challenge is.
let's do room
I
length.
think he's frozen.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Now you're back.
The room's back, but he's gone.
Yeah, I know. That's amazing.
There you go.
That was totally not even a screen. It was just, so I'm kind of surprised it even came back on its own. Okay.
Yeah.
So the challenge is release your earlobes. Okay.
My earrings will fall out.
Then you'll look like those, big loop earlobes. Or
Yeah,
the,
the big after where they stretch them.
yeah. Or the Buddhist sculptures with big earlobes. So as you hang out while you're doing your room lengths, hanging out, the vertical hanging is going to work directly through your earlobes, hanging down right through the vertical direction of gravity, moving and affecting directly right through the earlobes, and consciously releasing the earlobes, have all the gravity work directly through your earlobes. The main line of gravity, the main vertical line of gravity is happening to be working directly through the earlobes. And imagine the earlobes getting softer and softer and more open. Softer and emptier. Earlobes getting softer and emptier. Okay, so interesting thing I found was that the earlobes actually made my vertical alignment clearer and sharper. It actually informed my vertical alignment through my whole body.
There's a different quality of syncing with that focus. It's subtle and it's quite lovely.
Yeah, so let's stay with that for just a moment. Come to just regular standing, continuing to work with the earlobes, emptying the earlobes, weight underside of the earlobes. And because the weight drains to the underside of the earlobes, it empties and opens the earlobes. Even as the weight and tension settle, the bottom edge of the earlobes, it allows it then, therefore, to empty and open. Earlobes becoming relaxed, empty, open. And that process might flow up into the ears a little bit, but mainly residing in the earlobes, opening, releasing the earlobes, and noticing what that does overall. Okay. So anything can be used as a trigger, and it's helpful to experiment with that, play around with that, because you'll find areas that, like Cheryl was saying, are surprisingly triggering and releasing that you wouldn't have ever thought. And you may have found that with earlobes. Interesting quality, sensations, or triggering effects that never would have guessed. And it also shows that we can go be very specific with our intention, our awareness and our intention, and our releasing ability anywhere and everywhere. For example, right now, go to your eyeballs. Release the unconscious tension in and around on the surface of the eyeballs and in the eyeballs. Release them. Release the eyeballs. And you'll notice some sensation or other, because even the eyeballs are holding on for most of us. Tension is even in the eyeballs. So release the eyeballs. And the muscles and retina right behind the eyeballs, the back surface of the eyeball. The muscles and connections and retina at the very back edge of the eyeball. Release that. Notice how that changes your face, changes things. Okay. Okay, so I'd like to do maybe one more specific process since we've been focusing on standing and different things we can do with standing and releasing. So let's come back to standard standing. And very much related to how we started, where we went through the body, releasing, softening, relaxing each part, and then letting go, intending, allowing even further release. Same thing, but a slightly different way of putting it. We'll go through that sequential process again, but now emphasizing, focusing on this word and this quality of sinking or pouring. Okay, so the head is suspended from above, hang out, hang that spine, hang the hips, feel the knees bend because of that, and the pressure and the bobs of the feet increase because of that releasing and hanging. Then from your ankles down, pour and release any weight and tensions. Pour it down, sink it down. And then from your knees, releasing down, pouring down. Let the tissues pour down from the knees. So tissues around the knees, the heavy muscles of the calves, shins, through the feet. Those tissues release and pour down. And or you can imagine water running through those tissues, draining them of tension, draining them of sticky points. You're releasing down, pouring down. And from the hips down through the thighs, knees, lower legs. A releasing, so like we said before, an open, a releasing, a relaxing, an emptying, and opening, but now specifically a pouring down, draining down, sinking down. Of course, the bones do not sink at all, but tissues and tensions pour down, sink down, release down, flow down. And into the abdomen, soften, release the abdomen, allow it to open as you empty it of tensions. Specifically, pouring down through the abdomen, pouring down, pouring down.